Hey guys, what's good? Hope everybody's doing well. Hope everybody is staying righteous, staying safe, and warm and dry. I just wanted to show you all a watch I got that I previewed in another video I made about that Timex Marlin Snoopy. But this is a TAG Heuer, and it is the drum roll, the new Monaco. I've always been a fan of this watch, and I think a lot of people are interested in it. Very few, count them on one hand, iconic watches out there. It's an overused word, but this kind of does qualify, I think. So the Monaco has been around since the 70s, and in various iterations, Heuer has brought it back and back and back, and this is the latest version. It may be the best version of this watch, actually. For the first time, they have their in-house 02 chronograph movement, which is just awesome, really well made. Let me take it off my wrist and I'll show it to you, okay? So I have it on kind of like an aftermarket strap, and maybe we'll start there. So, for the first time in a while, the Monaco is available with a bracelet. So I'm going to put that down and let's look at that bracelet. It is really well made, just like beautifully well made, and it has all of the trappings of a modern high-end watch bracelet. I'm going to put that down just so you guys can see like the end links. And so, the end links are really well done. Spring bars go through there. This attaches just flush to the case. But well, before I get to the butt, you can see the beautiful clasp. Look at the activation on this. First of all, it's like really just seamless on the bottom of your wrist, and then twin trigger activation, really clean, really well thought out. And it has screwed links, so no cheap push pins here, screwed. And here's where we get to that butt. It's screwed on both sides, and I have a lot of experience sizing watch bracelets, and I have a lot of the tools that are needed to do that, but man, this is one of the most complicated bracelets I've ever dealt with in terms of sizing. I thought Grand Seiko bracelets were complicated. This is really hard. And so I struggled with this for a while, and then eventually I just took it off and I just put it on a really cool aftermarket strap. But I would like to wear this on a bracelet eventually. I just need to get some more tools, I think, to size it properly. But kudos to TAG for making a really nice bracelet. I wish I could enjoy it. Let's talk about the watch itself, though. Two different dial colors right now. The blue, it's kind of like a sunray blue, and this black dial, and both are excellent. The blue is, of course, classic, and it's a really well-made watch. It's a highly legible watch. It's a chronograph, and it's an in-house movement chronograph, and it has all the trappings of a modern high-end mechanical chronograph movement, and you can see the beautiful movement on the case back. It's got look at the red right there. You can see that red thing right there. That is the column wheel, so they really highlight that. It's got vertical clutch activation, so there's no, let's see here, let's watch that column wheel actuate. So there's no, see that? There's no shutter to the seconds hand, and it just moves beautifully. And for the first time, they also have a 12-hour totalizer right here at this counter. You can see at 6 o'clock they have it constantly running seconds hand, and I personally like the way they integrated this into the movement. I'm sorry, into the dial. It's kind of like one of those things where it's there when you want it to be there and not there when you don't want it to be there. Traditionally, this watch had nothing right there, and so just a date on the bottom. But, the constantly running seconds hand I think is cool, and it's well integrated into this watch. The dial is otherwise very well done. It's like a deep kind of glossy black, super legible. I like the hits of red, on the hands, and it's just like really well done. Like I said, the 02 is an integrated movement by Heuer, and it can be seen, I think, most clearly from this view, believe it or not, because you can see that the two pushers and the crown are on this same line. And when there's a like a modular chronograph movement, what happens is that the crown sits low and the pushers sit high. How come? Because, well, it's a module. So the time keeping module, that's connected to the crown is on the bottom. That's like your hours, seconds, your date. Whereas the chronograph is built on top of that. Interestingly, this is the classical way to make this movement, at least an automatic chronograph movement, because the original automatic chronograph movement, of which I think Breitling, Heuer, maybe Zenith were all parts of, used a modular movement. And so it's interesting, like some of those original TAG Heuer Monacos have the chronograph pushers on this side, but the crown on this side. In fact, a relatively recent version of the Monaco had that kind of arrangement. But since this is an integrated movement with a column wheel and vertical clutch, and everything is built in one piece, you can see all of it's in one line on this profile view. I think people are kind of split about that. Certainly, the modular movement, ironically, is more. I wouldn't say more desirable, but more accurate to the original presentation of this watch. And that was done out of necessity. And I think some of those are still available on the secondary market. So it's something that that is available if you kind of like that look of the crown over here. Talking about the crown, you can see that it's got a logo. So the TAG Heuer logo there. It's not a screw down crown. Winds easily. But it does have 100-meter water resistance, so that's nice. So the pushers are good action. See, I stopped it there. Let's see. Let's listen to it activate. So I'm going to push. See, it's got a little bit of play in it right here. So you push and then it starts perfectly. So it's not like a cam actuated chronograph or anything like that where there's like a jump. It's like smooth, instant on, instant off. Little play here. It's typical of chronograph movements, chronograph pusher action. So, and everything zeroes back up. You can hear the click there. So that's kind of the functionality of the watch. 39 millimeters by 39 millimeters is the case. The lug width is 22 millimeters, so lots of options for straps. You can see it's a straight connection to the case right there, so you can even use aftermarket straight end link bracelets. So the straps, though, are going to look well integrated like this one. It's a thick watch, definitely a thick watch, and so the thickness. Look at that crystal. Look at that square crystal right there. Just really three-dimensional. Creates some really nice effects on the dial. Makes for a highly legible watch too. The fact that it's square gives you a lot of area to look at whenever it's on your wrist, and so it's a highly legible watch. It's not like a small little watch. It's a large watch. It takes up a lot of space on your wrist. So even though nominally it's only 39 by 39, that's a lot more space because you can kind of see by the seconds ring, that like the circle right there. That's nominally about, I guess, what 35 millimeters looks like. You wouldn't have any of this other space around it. So you don't have a tiny little watch. It's a big watch on your wrist. A big watch and a thick watch. Thickness of this is pretty large. It's over 15 millimeters thick, not quite 15 and a half millimeters thick, but that's a large watch. And the reason for that is because it has a large movement. One thing I really like about this view of the watch is that the movement fills up the case really nicely. You look at some of the more recent iterations of the Monaco, and you have like this large square case and this tiny little movement in the middle. But this is a modern large chronograph movement, thick chronograph movement though. You can see all the functions, all the gears and everything there. So it's well decorated, utilitarian decoration. You can hear the rotor spin. And hearing a rotor spin, let me spend a second on that, is no indication of the quality of movement at all. most modern watch movements are unidirectional. And so unidirectional movements tend to have this more audible rotor spin, I think. And so, even Rolex has moved to this kind of unidirectional rotor action. And so gone are the days of like the dead silent Rolex. Now even my high-end Rolex watches, you can hear an audible rotor wobble. It's noticeable. It's not a bad thing. There's no wobbling of the movement. You can certainly hear the rotor whirring around in there. I like the black finish on the rotor. And so the overall impressions of this watch in hand, I think, are solid, large, thick, but really well made, really well thought out, good action on the movement. And this is the first one. I think the black dial came out initially with the bracelet. So this is the first one that comes on that bracelet. And like I said, the bracelet is really well done. It's perfectly integrated to the case because you have these end links that connect perfectly to the case. My issue is that I bought the watch secondhand, and so I was unable to size this just really well made and profoundly complex bracelet. Let me put it on the wrist and we'll keep talking about it. Okay, I'll be right back. Hey, here we are. We're back. It's such a nice day outside. That cold, wet weather has taken a break, and so I thought I would sit outside and show it to you all in some natural light. So there's the watch. Beautiful, beautiful watch. Big, substantial, but really well made, really well thought out. Let me get it on my wrist. We'll take a quick look at it, okay? So it fits really well, I think. It's 39 millimeters by 39 millimeters, and so the actual lug to lug is probably like 43 or 44 or something like that. But there you can just kind of see the watch on my wrist, and you can just get a feel for the size. It's a big watch. I mean, ain't no doubt about that. I mean, it's a big watch. It's got a lot of presence on the wrist, a lot of legibility, but it's just really, I think, well made, well thought out, and a worthy successor to the Monaco line. There's been several Monacos over the years. Some of those vintage ones sell for big money. Some of them came, I think some of the most valuable ones, believe it or not, are not the ones that were the automatics, but rather the ones that were the like the hand winding. I think some Holy Grails have Value 72 movements. But they've had various iterations over the years. And it was never really marketed, I think, as like a super high-end watch, more so as just an accessible, sort of a luxury tool watch. And in that sense, I think this one really accomplishes the goals. Pricing on these is pretty high, though. So the Monaco is a premium line from Heuer. It's a line, and it's a watch that they are very much known for. And so, these go for around $7,500, I think, on bracelet. Secondary market prices are of course not that much. Secondary market prices for these are probably around, I don't know, $5,500, $6,000. I think that's about where they're going to be, maybe $5,000. A lot of money. There's a slight premium for the blue version, understandably. I mean, that's kind of the version that this watch is sort of known for, that dial, the blue with the white subdials. But I think the black offers a lot of charm too. That sort of that panda look is really nice. Look, I hope you guys like this quick look at a watch that I really like a lot. I traded for this watch, and I feel fortunate to have been able to do so. I think this is Heuer doing what they do best. They sort of modernize some of their classic designs, and I think the people that benefit are watch lovers like us. I like the way the date is integrated. It matches the dial, so it's not like a white date dial on a black, white date disc on a black dial. Rather, it's really well integrated. It's really legible too. Weirdly, the date is very easy to read. I think a big reason for that is because it sits very close to the dial. Remember that Omega Seamaster Professional? I loved that white watch. It was so nice, so well done. But the date sat very far below the dial, which made it really kind of difficult to read from certain angles. But this one, even with my eyes, the date is easy to read. It's well integrated, and this is a watch I really like wearing a lot. I get a lot of compliments on this watch, weirdly. you know, just about all the watches I've been wearing recently, including my Rolexes, I get more comments on this one. I think part of that is just the unique look of it, you know, and it looks unique, but it doesn't look out of place nowadays. In this weird way, like this square watch is very typical of watches nowadays, because you see so many Apple watches or smart watches with this large square shape. And so I think what happens is people look at this large square watch and they realize, oh, that's not a smart watch. That's something different. That's something interesting. And I think that's what kind of draws them into it. I'm rambling as always, guys. I hope you'll like this quick look at a watch that I really like a lot. I like a lot more than I thought I would, and a watch that I feel very thankful to have traded for. This is the TAG Heuer Monaco, the return of a legend. I'd really recommend it. I think they're really, really good watches. I think they are a relative bargain on the secondary market. Man, at $5,000, that's going to be hard to beat. I would take this over a lot of other stuff at double the price. I really would. I like this over, I'm going to just say something crazy, over just about any Breitling I can think of. I think I might like this even more than the Breitling B01 chronographs. I have a jaw-dropping solid gold one. Check out my video of that. But I think in terms of style, build quality, movement, and history and heritage, hard to beat a Monaco. All right, guys, take care. God bless. Hope everybody, as I said, is staying warm, staying dry. Be safe, be healthy, and I'll come at y'all soon with another video. Take care. Bye.